Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. How is my streaming? Is everything coming through okay? If somebody in the chat could give me a thumbs up, that would be awesome. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. How is my streaming? Super, that sounds perfect. I have a little bit of a sore throat this evening, so I think the echo was me. I had the player in page, and so there was some feedback, but I should all be sorted now. We will get started very shortly. Give it a couple more minutes just to see if anybody else turns up. If you are watching and you haven't signed up for a Twitch account, I highly encourage you to take the couple of minutes to do that now, because the chat is where the fun is at. The chat's where people are going to be offering suggestions, critiques, and all manner of things like that. And you'll want to be part of that. So if you're watching and haven't got a Twitch account, sign up now and join in there. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Nethack Nights. My name is Alex, and I'm your host for this evening. Casey, our regular host, is still away travelling, so I am stepping in and continuing with a game we continued with last Thursday. If you are unfamiliar, Nethack is a dungeon crawling game. It's involves a lot of imagination because it's all ASCII art. And this week, I am, just to set the scene a little bit for you, I am kind of getting into the spirit because I am lit merely by the glow of a candle and the monitor light and the lightning storm that, I think raging would be an exaggeration outside, but there is thunder and lightning outside. So if you do hear some rumbling, that's where it's from. So, last time, the other thing which is special about tonight as well is, and I'm not sure if this is going to apply to our game, but our game of Nethack we are playing on the nethack.alt.org server, which is a public Nethack server. And the thing about this evening, because for those of us in the Eastern time zone, it is March the 31st. But if we were in UTC, it would be April the 1st. And I had a look at some other people playing games on this server. And maybe that might have an effect on our game. But anyway, we will come to that when we come to that. Hi to S. Pavis in the chat, nice to see you, thank you for joining us. The last time we played this wizard, our wizard is doing okay. This is the third session we've had with this wizard, but the walls and the dungeon are starting to close in. We've cleared a couple of levels of Sokoban, and that's where we are now. I think this was level 2 of Sokoban that we cleared. And right now we are blind, and we can see there are a lot of monsters in this room. There are a lot of monsters in this room, possibly too many for our wizard to take. We have also seen in the dungeon overview that we have what was described on the level overview as a very big room, and that it was, and there are a lot of lurking monsters there. Monsters which could easily surround us and beat our poor wizard to death. So maybe you would say, well, okay, we don't really want to try and go much further up into through Sokoban, and we don't want to try and fight our way through the big room. Maybe we should try and hit Mine's End, because we got as far as Minetown with many shops, but we didn't go down any further, and that is because what started as a kitten, as it walked towards us, it became a dragon, a blue dragon. And while there is only one blue dragon down there, I don't trust my wizard to be able to fight off that blue dragon. So there are questions, and the dungeon is closing in. And if anyone in the chat has an opinion over which of these ones we should attack, this is a good time to say so. Because I know where I'm leaning, but I'd be interested in other opinions. So we've explored some of the dungeon. We are experience level 8. We have 65 HP. We don't know all that many spells. We have Force Bolt, which is a kind of a low-level attack spell. We don't have any healing spells. I would feel a lot better about tackling some of these things if I knew I could heal myself. Similarly, Stone to Flesh is not all that useful, and the failure rate is quite high on that. And in our inventory, we have Magic Bane, which is it's an Aphame, which is like a dagger. It's an artifact weapon, so it's got some extra things. That's definitely on our side. Put a number of items of armor, but nothing majorly enchanted. I can't remember what we would what we had enchantments our AC was on that one, but I'm not sure. We have some food. We're fine for food, and we know Stone to Flesh, so I'm not so worried about that. We have a couple of Earth Scrolls and Magic Mapping. Nothing exciting. Nothing exciting in the potions. Nothing really useful in our rings. We have a Wand of Digging, which we can use to escape in certain scenarios. And we have a Luckstone and a Touchstone, neither of which we have really explored yet. So that is where we are at. I'm pretty sure this Naga down here... you might have also seen I've tried to fix up my keys. We didn't have the overlay next time. I might make that font size a little bit smaller. Let me just do that for a second. That might be a little bit less... Super. So the Naga is peaceful. And now we are ready to make some kind of move on the dungeon. And to be honest, nobody in the chat has really expressed a thing, but I think I am most likely to have a go at this level of Sokoban. Because, although I have no way to open and close this door, I can fight one monster at a time, I can run away, and I can insist that my pet is here to help me. In fact, I'm going to leash my little dog right now to do so. So, let's just double check the inventory that we haven't got any useful tools that we could use to unlock that door. Nope, we have not, so... And in fact, that is probably going to be a monkey, an owlbear. Okay, so I'm going to, instead of kicking down the door, I am going to force bolt through this. So I'm going to destroy the door with magic, and spank the owlbear with some magic, and probably that soldier ant as well. Ha! Perfect result. So we hit the owlbear, missed the soldier ant, but our dog is now going to stand in this doorway for us and hopefully fight some of these creatures. Again, I'm going to force bolt. We have a sad feeling for a moment, then it passes. So, one of the other things, like these two pets that we picked up here, we picked them up towards the end of that last, the last game, and we didn't name them, mainly because I did not feel they were going to survive very long. And sure enough, it seems like they have not. So, I'm a little bit more comfortable in my ability to fight the Rothae, but there are three of them all lined up in a nice row there, so let's hit them another spell. And again, soldier ants have not been good to us. So I'm down to 35 HP, and the Naga is not friendly, so let's try with a spell. And in fact, I'm going to keep casting spells for the time being. Gained an experience level, that's nice. I feel more confident in my skills, so I've probably leveled up in attack skills. And that, I think, is everything. I'm wearing a blindfold. Let's remove our blindfold. I'm currently satiated, so I'm not going to worry about that. Rescue was saying that it looks like there's a book in the doorway. I think that's just because I was blind and I hadn't seen that doorway get destroyed. So Catmeat, our pet, is having a bit of a feast. I just tried to pick up that owlbear corpse because when Catmeat, which is our cat, goes and eats that one, it would have gained us a little bit of tameness if I'd had that in my inventory before. But owlbears are big. Owlbears are just what they sound like. It's an owl crossed with a bear. So they're quite big, can't really lift them. Come on, Catmeat. In fact, I don't know why I'm waiting for this, because I'm about to go and attack a soccer band level, and the last thing I want is a pet wandering through the boulders. So, last time we did soccer band, I was saying I'm generally okay with my approach to soccer band, and then I managed to mess up soccer band, but I think I'm going to be okay with this one. Let's see how I get on with this. So, I think if I push this up one, that's still movable. I can move this down two and this across one, and all of those are still perfectly mobile. Ooh, a dwarf. A peaceful dwarf. Relsky's asking, is my cat big? I don't know, I don't think so. I think our cat might just be a kitten, might be a cat. We haven't had her very long. I am freezing to death. I do not like freezing to death. Ice vortexes aren't that scary. That might be my own prejudice, because I often play as a Valkyrie, and Valkyries are cold resistant, because they come from the land of the ice and snow. So I should maybe be a little bit more careful as a wizard. If we could just wait for that dwarf to shove off a little bit. So yeah, barring a misclick, or a mispush I guess, or even maybe that dwarf just getting down this corridor before I notice it, this soccer band level hasn't really given us any trouble. Which is nice. I like straightforward soccer band levels. Let's put on that blindfold again, which was item N. And again, there's only one ant in that room, so that's not a big deal. Before we go and retrieve cat meat, let's just have a quick look up here and see if there's anything worth picking up. So this has resulted in us being burdened, so I might just eat something. Let's have a look in this tin. It smells like dingoes. I would eat dingo. I mean, I wouldn't eat dingo, but my wizard would eat dingo. Let's go and get cat meat. Ooh, a warg. Wargs are tough. I do not like fighting wargs. But that turned out not to be a big deal. And I've also got... oh, I meant F rather than fight, but I hit the wrong thing. Not to worry. I don't know if I can gain any resistances from eating giant beetles. Like, I'm already poison resistant, so I'm not too worried about actually eating it, so I might as well just chow down. So, again, I wonder if there's something we could drop down here just for the time being. Something heavy, some kind of mineral or precious metal, just to leave us unencumbered. So here we are again at the top of Sokoban. I will leave that tin where it sits for the time being. See, I'm very cautious about wands. Like, I don't really want to leave it, particularly wands called Vanish's Writing. But I also don't really want to leave wands lying around the dungeon where monsters can get at them. Before we start pushing boulders around, let's just go back down and drop a couple more things so we do end up unencumbered. I am going to drop a Wand of Locking, which I have very little use for, frankly. I have no real use for Scrolls of Earth. I don't really have that much use for a Wand of Magic Mapping at this point either. Ditto, in fact, for our Potion of Booze and our Potion of Oil. So actually give us a little bit more carrying capacity. We can pick up some of the stuff that we see here without too much of a problem. And we are going to be pushing boulders around, which is going to make us hungry. So that will definitely help. Now, this level of Sokoban is one that can... like, neither of the ones at the end I really have much problem. But we're going to start off by just shifting everything, all these top ones, over a couple of places. And that will give us a little bit of freedom to start finishing some boulders. I should also say, while I'm doing this and pushing stuff around, thank you to Rosqui for the retweet. I did I've really enjoyed playing Nethack and doing this on stream, so it's always nice to do it in front of an audience, so things like that do help. Thank you. I feel strong. I must have been exercising diligently. And I must have been leading a healthy lifestyle. Oh, let's not take that woodland elf for granted. Hi to Necrobuffalo in the chat, and to Hyladin. Relsky says that they dare say I have been exercising diligently. I have been pushing a lot of boulders around. Like, that is kind of good exercise. So I'm just going to tweak the fade out duration on my little keystroke displayer, because hopefully I'll make it a little bit less flickery. As it was a bit appear and disappear. I'm not sure if it really helps to see like the whole long strings of characters. Oh, monster behind the boulder. Etid mummies again, not to be sneezed at. But also quite slow, so I can back off, throw a couple of daggers at it. And then, not such a big deal, just to finally finish it off with just a little kind of stab. Ooh, a Cicatrice. That is also going to get the distant dagger treatment. And I am wearing leather gloves. I just wanted to double check that I had some gloves on. So, I was about to push that all the way down to the bottom, but I don't have to do that. I can turn that one around in there. Now I've got a little bit more space. So Relsky is asking in the chat whether spells are forgotten by use or by time. It is by time. Nethack 3.6 has introduced a thing where when you see this you have a retention rate, where it's telling you how well you recall it, which is kind of nice. It gives you some idea of how long it takes to time out, but it also, because the game is a little about picky about when you can reread spellbooks, and it's annoying when it says that you recall it, say, 1 to 10% well, when it tells you that you recall that spell well enough already, which is really not the case. You can't reread it until your recollection is completely gone. So I would not be surprised to see that tweaked even further in another release. So this Nethack level, you might notice, is a level where there is no margin for error. We are going to end up using every last one of our boulders. Which also makes me nervous. Cool, there's nothing down that corridor. Let's see if we can do something about us being hungry. I will eat Jaguar. Szechuan Jaguar, in fact. And let's just scoff down a food ration as well while we're here, which should really... I was expecting that to satiate us, but apparently it didn't. Let's retrieve cat meat. There we are, cat meat. So we've got this door. The door is locked. I cannot unlock the door. I can kick it in. But let's just pop on our blindfold and see what we have on the other side. Ooh, not a huge fan. Let's have a look in particular about all monsters shown on the map. Peaceful grey unicorn, that's a good sign. A Zorn, not too worried about that. The soldiers could be a little bit troublesome. There are at least 3 of them, and the soldier ants as well. A grey elf. I'm not a huge fan of fighting the grey elves. They're not too bad, like elves are a little bit weedy, but in particular with everything else. And the troll. Trolls also hit hard. So, definitely a room not to be trifled with. Relsky was also asking about our cat. What kind of cat? A kitten. So again, like, I'm not entirely sure how much help that our kitten will actually be. But there is only one way to find out. And that way would be to destroy the door. We are at full health. We are at full magic power. We are about as good as we are going to get. So we should probably knock the door in and see what awaits. So, cat meat, despite being a kitten, knows no fear. So I'm going to wait here and see exactly what goes on. I think while they're all lining up like this, I am totally just going to keep zapping. And my kitten hasn't moved in a little while, which makes me think maybe my poor kitten attacked the floating eye, which would not be a good move. See, I'm already down to half health. This is not a good position to be in. (21 health). I think I'm going to have to step away from this doorway so I can run away if I have to, which is going to give the soldier ant a free hit at me. I might not be able to escape the soldier ant. I think I'm going to force bolt it, because if I tried to run away, I would not be able to. But now, oh dear, I have been engulfed by the ice vortex. I am freezing to death. I might be able to run away from this Zan. I at least get a free hit on this Zan. Right, so I'm just going to turn the... I don't know how monsters really work in terms of pursuit. Like, I don't know if this soldier ant, because it doesn't have line of sight of me, if it knows where I am in the game, if it will pursue me. Because I can see it via telepathy, but does it have any recollection that I exist? Like right now, it looks like it's chasing me down the corridor, but I don't know if that's actually the case or if that's just my impression. I'm just trying to get within dagger range so I can throw some daggers at it. Ah, there is something there which is mindless and I cannot see. I don't know what it was. Let's not find out. So there's this long worm here. Let's remove that blindfold just for the time being so we can see that. And I'm not particularly worried about this long worm. It's pretty slow moving. I have enough time that I can just dagger it from a distance. So I would much rather use this time to rest up, heal up a little bit, while this worm slowly inches its way towards me. And the other thing about the worm is it's got a very long tail. Right? Like, I think if we put on our blindfold back on, we can see its long tail. I said I was unconcerned by that, but then there's a barrow white waiting around the corner. If I'd known that, I might have been a little bit less laissez-faire about that long worm. Because barrow whites, not just famed for Baby I Want Your Love thing, are also quite tough opponents. Let's throw some daggers at this long worm, because there's also that grey unicorn down there. And that grey unicorn is a peaceful unicorn. See, this is the position I didn't want to be in. Worms to the left of me, barrow whites to the right. Barrow whites to the right, I should say. Yeah. Barrow whites can drain life. So I'm definitely going to pray now. The last time we prayed, and I don't know how many turns ago it was, our God was pleased but did not help. Hopefully enough turns have passed that Thoth might heal us. Thank you, Thoth. You are a gentleman. So I tried to hit the barrow white again, which we destroyed. That got us back to level 9, which is okay. We lost any experience we gained since leveling up to that, but that wasn't too recently, so I'm not too worried about that. And it says I feel more confident in my skills, which is a little bit uncommon, because I really thought I was most skilled in dagger. Which I am. I mean, I guess I could skill up in attack spells, which is probably something I would want to do anyway. Praise Thoth indeed. So again, let's just... Actually, no, we were on like experience level 60. I was thinking I still was a little bit injured. You know what, let's eat that worm corpse. Who knows when we will get to eat again. Cat meat appears to be doing quite well. What do we want to throw? We want to throw those daggers. I'm not so scared about that rabbit, the rat's attack power. But I was worried about it being rabid and therefore biting me. So I'm just going to pop on this blindfold just to check out the rest of this room. This room is starting to be less scary. There's still that troll. The floating eye might be causing us some trouble. The Zorn is not to be trifled with. But the unicorn is friendly. The gnomish wizard is friendly. The eye, I think, is just an imp. Who cares? The mimic will leave us alone until we leave it alone. As long as we leave it alone. The pony, I think, was also peaceful. So it looks like we're actually through the worst of it. Let's remove that blindfold, if for no other reason than it will keep the mimic as a mimic. This is a violet fungus, which I'm not particularly scared of, but I'm gonna... Oh... I was gonna throw a force bolt at it, but I might hit the peaceful pony if I do that, so I'm gonna release this magical bolt just up the corridor for no real reason. Let's fire some daggers this way. Cat meat eats a floating eye corpse. Cat meat feels a strange mental acuity. Oh, puddings. I don't like fighting puddings. I'm going to throw some daggers at this pudding. So I now have no choice. Oh no, I do have some choices. I can totally force bolt down here. Yeah, see, the brown pudding, when it attacks, rots our armor. Ah, there is a thing. A dwarf mummy. See, trolls are tough. Let's but it does look like we can run away from the troll pretty effectively. Apparently I didn't even get to pick up my daggers, so I guess there's not much for it, except I can, like, hit. Oh, dearie me. Ah! Ah, ah, ah. I am going to run away at this point. I cannot pray. I do not have enough HP, or, like, it hasn't been long enough since I prayed to play that. Ah, okay, so I was going to just run away and heal up, but... So despite all of that, I think I am going to wait up on the downstairs so I can run downstairs if anything comes near me, because I'm very unhealthy. I have 0 HP. Sorry, I have 0 power, spellcasting power. Oh yeah. I think I'm just going to take a quick screenshot of that one. That'll be a good one for our blog entry. The annoying thing about trolls is they don't stay dead. They're quite insistent on that fact. One of the many good reasons to keep a pet in Nethack is they will eat the troll corpses for you. Because you can eat the troll corpses, but I'm satiated. I'm not going to start eating something as big as a troll when I'm satiated. That troll, I am aware, has a spear. And 2 apples. But I'm less concerned about that. I'm more concerned about it throwing its spear at me. And I think when the trolls come back, I don't know, but I think they come back at full HP. So it's not even like I get an advantage over it, or have an easier job of killing it. I can probably throw some daggers at it at this point. So at this point, I'm escaping downstairs. And I'm going to wait downstairs until I am a little more healed. And because I am so low on health points, I just wanted to pop that blindfold on just so I can see trouble coming. So right now I'm just doing like count, where I say for 60 moves, wait. I don't really have anything I can throw at that snake, unfortunately. I would have liked to just go over and say fight that snake with my daggers, but I threw them all at the troll. But we are now at full health, so let's go back up. And throw some force bolts at the troll as much as we can. I am going to eat that troll corpse. There we go, we finished eating the troll corpse. The troll at least will no longer bother us. And the troll had some fairly good loot, which we'll probably come back and figure out on our way. In fact, we can remove our blindfold. Hey Catmeat, I am very glad you survived. So for now I'm just going to drop this gold over here. But that is a lot of gold. So I am curious what's up with this Zorn. The Zorn is just sitting around not doing anything, and hasn't for a while. And I think the same is true of... Oh, I was trying to look at it, but the... oh no, the Zorn is on the move. Oh, I forgot about that Mimic. I guess I'm doing okay. I'm okay to stand in this doorway. And I'm okay to try and, like, kill the Zorn. I'm just going to take a step away at this point, because the Zorns are big, and I think it would have attacked me on that next move. And just give me 1 second to take a little bit of water. Okay, so... See, that Zorn's behaviour is very puzzling to me, as in, like, it comes along... I mean, I guess we did stun it and make it turn to flee. There we go. The Zorn is no more. Let's see if we can just dagger this Mimic to death. Super. Catmeat eats a giant Mimic corpse. You see a dog appear where Catmeat was. Catmeat will soon return to his natural catty form. So I'd like that unicorn to get out of the way. I have a feeling that we are not going to be able to... Oh, that unicorn might not get out of the way as long as we're standing there. Unicorns don't like standing around next to you. We see here a scroll labeled Lep Jex Ven Zir and a hexagonal amulet. And that's not bad, I know. I think when Casey got to the top of the mines, Casey found an amulet and discovered that it was indeed an amulet of reflection, which is one of the two things that you can get at the top of the mines. I know what the other thing is, and I would probably have preferred the other thing myself. But I will take the Amulet of Reflection, I'm quite happy for that. I'm not saying what the other thing was, because Casey doesn't know yet, and I like to see Casey discover things for themselves. So, sometimes I'm going to talk around things a little bit like that. I also know about this scroll. I'm going to try and pick it up, and it is going to turn to dust as I pick it up. And that will be a scroll of Scare Monster. We should put on our shiny new amulet. And there's not going to be anything else in the other ones. So we are burdened. I think that's kind of unavoidable at this point. We shall try to be careful as we proceed back down through Sokoban. Right, well, we're already burdened, so it's kind of like in for a penny, in for a pound at this point. I think that's just going to be an imp. Again, imps don't scare me. I will hit this imp to death quite happily. And hopefully wait for Catmeat to join us. So I am being a little bit cautious. I remember there was a snake over here. There's a lot of stuff over here. I'm gonna zap that freezing sphere because I think I'm gonna be hit by it, but Catmeat should be just out of reach for that. Because the last thing I would want to do is to kill that shocking, the ice sphere, the freezing sphere, and have that hurt Catmeat. That Naga's nothing to worry about, the Naga was peaceful. So we did have a little mini stash. I think that was a peaceful vortex, peaceful air elemental. So Sokoban can be a pretty good place for a stash, particularly for wizards, though I don't know if we're going to get that far in this game either. So I'm wondering if there's anything I would like to drop off here. Where was my last stash? No, I didn't mean Shift O, I meant Control O to show me this. So I last had a stash on level 6. So this would be a much better stash, in fact. Tell you what, let's drop a few things off here. I'm going to keep the gold with me. I think the next thing we should do, now we've got this gold and we are low on armor, is to take some of this gold to the priest in Minetown. And then when we're there, we can reevaluate about exactly how scared we are of this blue dragon. So I'm unlikely to need a eucalyptus leaf. That egg would have hatched by now if it was going to. I definitely don't need those scrolls to be cut to come with me. I might take that bag of tricks with me, because there's an altar on the way up, and maybe we're going to use that to sacrifice a few things. If we're going to Minetown, we probably don't need the potion of booze or the potion of oil. I'm kind of carrying them around, I'm carrying those around as potions of oil are good for recharging lamps, and oil is good for recharging lamps. Booze is a source of confusion and also a candidate for dilution because water is more useful, really. You know what, I really don't care about a wand of locking. It is a useless wand. So let's do that. We should explore this dungeon level a little bit more, as we haven't really done very much of that. There's still some more to see on it. And then once we've done that, we shall make our way back to the... I can't think of the word. The Minetown. The Grey Elf wields a ruined Bornsword. So Grey Elves are a little bit confusing. In fact, most elves I find a little bit confusing because they have a little at symbol on them, and I have learned you do not eat the ats. Certainly not as a human. Grey Elves, though, are not human. They are elves. They are safe to eat. And in fact, they are a good idea to eat. I wonder if we can pick up those food rations, not without becoming satiated. I will leave them where they are. So I could use Force Bolt on that door, but I'm a little bit low on spellcasting power at the moment, so I'd much rather give myself some extra time to heal up and save those points. So this has at least saved us from a trip up to Minetown. We have found ourselves a priest. So when Casey was playing this game, I think I made the joke, the Fear and Loathing joke, where I said, as you're returning, I advise you to donate 4,000 gold pieces to the priest. Well, I am not feeling that generous. I would like to donate 3,600 pieces of gold to that priest. So I am going to have to drop 1,000... I can't do the math. I can, but I don't want to. I'm going to pick up... I think if I do P... Oh no. I don't know how I can pick up, like, more than one item. Can I do 3,600 pick up? Yes, perfect. Look at that. I will give this priest 3,600 Zorpids. And we're now at AC2. We were at AC4 before, so that was a little improvement. And I don't know if I had any other gold in my stash at the few levels above. We can also drop anything which we don't know about the cursedness of here, which is going to be worth knowing. I'm not sure, by the way, if the chat has just gone quiet or if something has happened to it on my end. I haven't seen any conversation in there in a while. So if you are in there, it would be nice if you could just give me a quick heads up. Because as I was saying at the beginning, the chat is, 90% of the fun. So most of our items are uncursed. I don't think there was really anything that we were carrying around and waiting to see what it was, so that doesn't really tell us anything except we shouldn't put on those rings. Thank you for the chat confirmation that is working. Sometimes the chat's really chatty, sometimes everything goes quiet, and that's okay, but I have had a couple of times when Twitch has just decided it would not work, and I get worried and a little bit lonely. There is a teleporter here. I am going to leave that teleporter alone for the time being. I know about that teleporter. I know I have a wand of digging. So my original plan when we were talking about this is I was going to fight my way back up to Minetown, or go back to Minetown, donate to the priest, get some extra gold, or donate to the priest, get some extra protection. But then we found that temple on this level and we donated to that priest instead. And I have a feeling that that teleporter could be a very nice little find on a level when there is a helpful priest sitting around. But, again, I don't want to give everything away because Casey's going to watch this and I want him to discover these things for himself. But where that teleporter takes me, my number one choice of escape would be to dig down to the next level and then come back up the stairs to here, to this level, and donate to the priest. But the level below me is the big room. The big scary room filled with some monsters. And I don't want to get dropped down through a hole into some random spot on the big room level. So I just blundered straight past that ape without even thinking about it. Yeah, take that ape. Let's put on our blindfold. Catmeat is still floating around over there. So let's say hello to Catmeat. And what I'm thinking is, let's actually go and have a look down in the big room and see how scary it actually is. Catmeat was a pretty good fighter in the treasure zoo, so maybe Catmeat would totally have my back in the big room. So we have some kind of sphere that we can see, a gas spore, which is going to cause me some trouble. Let's have a look at all monsters shown on the map. There is a tiger. There is a warhorse, which I can probably pacify. I think I might even have some apples that we stole from that troll, so I could even tame the warhorse. The acid blob will leave us alone as long as we leave it alone. And there is that ogre lord. But he is quite far away from us. So maybe I should be okay. I'm going to try and throw a dagger at that gas spore, hoping that it wouldn't catch me in the explosion. And you might have seen that you see a distant A-note squeak. So now, lots of stuff is going to be awake. The tiger suddenly disappears, and I kind of hope that that is a level, that is not a level teleport trap, it's just a teleportation trap. Because the only worse thing than knowing there is a tiger somewhere on this level at random is knowing there is a tiger somewhere in the dungeon at random that you can meet at any point. And that map, that is probably why I was saying that I was quite scared of the big room, because I came down here thinking, oh, what was I worrying about? I'm panicking over nothing. There are a lot of bees on this map. I don't like bees in real life. I like them even less in Nethack. I definitely do not like 12 bees. 12 bees is too many bees. But we now have a warhorse next to us. And we have an apple with that warhorse's name on it. We have a new pet. And that means we need a name for our pet. So, chat, what should we call our new warhorse? My inclination is towards calling it Daniel Radcliffe, just so you know. But if anyone's got anything better than that, I am all ears. So this S is going to be a cave spider. I'm not particularly afraid of the cave spider. While putting my drink down, I accidentally hit the options button. I'm gonna force bolt the Ogre Lord while I had a clear shot at it. So that Ogre Lord went down pretty easy, but there is a... that swarm of bees is closing in. So I think I'm going to decide discretion is the better part of valor. Couple of suggestions for the horse in chat. We have horse meat, which would go nicely with cat meat. Also silver, as in hi-ho silver away. Let's run away. Let's take our two pets and run away upstairs. I think actually now my next step would be, well, first of all, I should remove this blindfold. I think I would like to go and check my stash to see if I had any extra gold in that, because that would definitely make things a little bit easier. Where is my kitten? I didn't leave her on the floor below. Where is cat meat? Cat meat was probably eating. Well, I'm here now. Let's at least hit a thing. Yeah, okay, so we killed a bee. Let's get away while we still can. I am all about the newt corpses. So let's keep things thematic. I still like the idea of Daniel Radcliffe because he was in a play. He was in a play called Warhorse. But I think I might even just adapt it slightly and call him Warhorse Meat. The warhorses are pretty tough, right? Like, I could imagine our warhorse lasting us a little while. Anyway, let's go back and check our stash and see if we put some other gold in our stash. A unicorn. A white unicorn. And we've done this thing with gems where we've thrown gems at unicorns for that particular trick, where unicorns, they like gems, but they are not interested in worthless pieces of glass, so we can use that as a way to determine whether a particular unidentified gem has any value. And that unicorn should in fact now be peaceful. Even though we tried to give it a bit of junk, it decided that it was okay with it. Well, it looks like our Warhorse Meat took out that unicorn anyway. Looks like Cat Meat then decided, you know what, that unicorn is delicious, I'm going to stop here and eat it. Oh, I'm sitting here talking, looking at my cats and my pets roaming around and completely ignoring this nymph which suddenly appeared and decided it's going to come and mess up with me. Nymph, I liked that cloak. And she's now disappeared all the way over to the other side of the map. And you know what? My horse is now closer to the side of the map where I would like it to be, so I will leave Warhorse Meat over there. And you know what? That nymph is going to get a whole bunch of daggers in its face. Yeah. My cloak is back. I will be a little bit less crabby about the nymph now. She got what was coming to her. And after that little diversion, we did end up, at least with our pets, kind of close to us. We're not hungry at the moment. We've got a few fortune cookies, so let's eat some fortune cookies while we're waiting. They say that a tin of wraith meat is a rare dining experience, and that is very true. Old hackers never die, young ones do. You're going into the morgue at midnight? Okay, we have our pets around us, we can keep going up. We are now within one level of our stash. If you guys could just like come up and just both stand next to me at the same time, that would be awesome. There we go. Old hackers are easy to pander to. So we do have some coins, not enough, sadly. We really wanted a few hundred more. About 1,000 more, because when we take this out, it'll leave us on 2,800, and we needed 3,600, so we are about 800 short. While we are here, though, let's see what else we've got in our stash. So let's have another quick look at this. Oh, there is an altar to Thoth on level 3, as well as a shop and some stairs down to the Gnomish Mines. So I think the next thing we should do actually is go and revisit that altar to our god. Oh, no, I don't want to pick up the entire chest, but I am going to take a few things out of this chest. I am going to take the following. I'm going to take that scroll of Create Monster and the scrolls of Enchant Weapon and the scrolls of Identify. And I'm going to take that potion and that potion and that potion. And I'm also going to see what I can dump in this chest, though I think I dumped everything I really wanted to dump on Soccerban. Well, there's not a priest up there, although I might... Let's dump these elven daggers, as they are kind of my last resort daggers anyway. So I don't need to carry those around. I'm going to keep the apple, because that's kind of my... It's a good way to retain my warhorse, if I have to. Let's only carry the one tripe ration with us for now. And I'm not using that Ring of Warning. I've got a blindfold, so I'm tending to put that on. And those Vanishing Writing ones I can stash for now too. So I was thinking that was actually going to leave me unburdened, but apparently not. But I think I'm going to be okay with that for the time being. Because I'm going up the levels, so as you get higher in the dungeon, the monsters get less scary. So I'm just going to go stop by that fountain, as I have a couple of potions which I don't really care about. I don't care about that potion of levitation. I have learned the spell of levitation, and I really cannot cast it reliably yet. It's only at 90%. But by the time I really need it, I will be better at it. So I am quite happy to dip that potion of levitation in here and dilute that. And similarly, Potion of Sickness, not much use to me. Not drop, I wanted to dip. So we just have a couple of extra potions of water there. And you can drop them and pick them up to make them group within that K, but one thing which is you can also do is we can say adjust, and it says, what do you want to adjust? There we go, merging 10 clear potions. I don't know if any of you are watching on with headphones in, and maybe this is just me being a bit of a music geek, but this track, which is by Yanni S, called Baghdad Boogie, got some nice kind of stereo effects going on. I'm a fan of that. There is another elf. Good night, green elf. I'm just going to stand around and wait for Warhorse Meat to join us. And we can't see the altar, but I can remember it is down here. So that is at least where we left our tinning kit, because we did have one a while back and then lost it, so clearly we left it on the altar. Well, I'm going to leave that cursed clear potion on here, and I'm going to drop those 10 clear potions on the altar. And now I'm going to pray. I am sure that I want to pray. Some of the potions on the altar glow light blue for a moment. You feel that Thoth is well pleased. Magic Bane softly glows with a light blue aura. That was actually an unexpected bonus. I was praying because I wanted to bless these potions. Did I pick up that cursed clear? Oh, I picked up the cursed clear potion and didn't drop it again. I wanted to bless that one as well. But never mind. So, we have some blessed clear potions, some blessed water, and that is one of the most useful things in this game. Certainly at the stage which I am in. So I'm going to do a little bit of dipping. I'm going to start by dipping those 2 potions or those 2 scrolls into one of my potions of holy water. And now I have 2 blessed scrolls of enchant weapon, which I'm going to read right now. So now Magic Bane is +4 Magic Bane, which means that I'm going to hit things harder when I hit them. I am also going to bless, and this might be a slightly more controversial one for some of the Nethack players, but I really like having a Blessed Touchstone, because a Blessed Touchstone, I can rub things on my Blessed Touchstone, such as this Violet Gem, and discover that the Violet Gem is worthless glass. And I can rub that and discover that that is also a worthless piece of yellowish brown glass. And we're really close to the entrance to the mines here. We can go down there and identify a whole batch of gems and find out what's valuable and what isn't. And that is definitely going to help with our cash flow question. And it seems like a good idea. I would much rather have a blessed luckstone than a uncursed one. So let's do a little bit of that. I was just looking at the time and thinking about how much time we've got this evening. I wonder if over in this... in fact, let's forget that and let's see what all objects are on the map. Maybe we should go over and have a look in that shop and just have a look at some of those bags. Because a bag could be very useful for us, certainly as we're currently wandering around burdened. Like, there are some bags... I went down completely the wrong way with that one. There are some bags which will make it easy for us to carry things around the dungeon. But even just having a bag that I could stash my stuff in. So those bags are 4 Zorkmids apiece. They are not fancy bags. I would just really quite like one of my pets to come and stand on them. So I don't want to buy a cursed bag, right? Like, that seems like a bad time for everybody. Horse meat was fine with this bag. And yeah, I will totally buy an empty bag. So what are we going to put in our bag? Let's put in our reserve daggers. Actually, I might keep my daggers out, because if I need them, I'm going to need them in a pinch. Definitely don't need all of my food around. Ditto my scroll of monsters. I would like to keep my my potions all safe. We're not going to use any of these rings for the time being. I'm not going to use our tinning kit for the time being. We can save a 10. Apparently I tried to stash something I was wearing. I don't know what I tried to stash there. I'll make sure that Warhorse meat does indeed get out of this shop. There we go. So given that we have a goal in mind, I'm probably just going to drop this... oh, I don't know why I came down this way. I wanted to go to the downstairs, because this is going to be our mine town downstairs. I can drop this bag near the stair. I'm just going to wait for horse meat to show up. Horse meat, where are you? Look, they just... I don't think I've ever leashed a horse, but maybe I should. Now come, cat meat. Okie dokie. So let's drop that bag, which is going to make our movements unencumbered. And apparently I managed to knock that bag down the stairs. Dwarf King! Cat meat! Yeah, you show that Dwarf King Warhorse meat. And I have to say, I was hoping for a little bit more excitement in the chat about the discovery of the Blessed Touchstone. That's something which we haven't seen before. And it's kind of exciting. We can identify gems. Ah. Well, while we're waiting for Warhorse meat to do that, let's try untrapping that dart trap. But you know what, when we find Warhorse meat, I'm going to leash him for the time being. Oh, am I? See, the thing about pets is that you... Like with cats and dogs, it's really easy to retain them. You've got... or at least for wizards, we know Stone to Flesh and have a stack of meatballs in their inventory. Because you can just, like, toss them a meatball if they get untamed. But horses, not so much. In fact, I'm a little bit surprised that our horse is not currently hungry. Oh, I'm a little bit off my home row there. Wickers. I think wickering's a good sign in a horse. Finally, past those items. And now he's all the way back over there. Well, forget him. I'm no longer interested in you horse meat. I might retame you on my way back up if I feel like it. So I think this is a level where... Oh, I remember this level. This is one where we had to dig down because we got trapped by a giant ant. Panthers. Panthers are tough. Essentially too tough. That was maybe a little bit too bold, more bold than I should have been. And as Pavis says in the chat, ABCM, always be carrying meatballs. Meatballs are for closers. So we can tame that little cat, and we don't have to fight it. The gnome is going to be peaceful because we are a gnome ourselves. Ditto with the dwarf. Although I wouldn't mind seeing... So there's a lot of... I just walked up to that. It is a peaceful pony. The best kind of pony. That is a neutral unicorn, so it will definitely be on our side. So a lot of this dungeon has been dug out. There will be a lot of gnome, or there will be some gnomes around somewhere which are digging things. There is, for instance, is a dwarf even, sorry. The dwarves are often the miners. And you might have noticed that we had a sad feeling for a moment, then it passes. So sadly our little cat, which we just tamed, did bite the dust. And that's a shame, because I was kind of hoping, like, I don't want to kill this peaceful dwarf. That doesn't seem sporting. But the dwarf has been digging around this thing and might well have picked up quite a few gems while he has been mining around in the dwarvish mines. And I now have a way of finding out what things are valuable or what gems are valuable and which aren't. So if these dwarves did happen to meet some kind of fate at, like, the hands of a passing kitten, I'd be okay with looting the corpse. And this kind of, like, I do find this stuff very interesting with Nethack. Is about kind of exactly how much you will justify with this. Like how different players approach different aspects of that with the game. For instance, as a lawful character, like, there is an actual in-game penalty for murder, like for killing someone of your own race. There are penalties for killing your own pet and things like that. But if you cast your mind back to a couple of, like, earlier streams of this wizard, we used those meatballs that we caught to teach our pet to steal from the shop. Now, depending on how you play with the game, you might say, you know what, it doesn't matter if my character's lawful, I'll teach my pet to steal from the shop, because the game lets me do it without any penalty. But if you're more of a roleplay kind of, like, you really want to get into the mindset of your character, you wouldn't do that. You're a lawful character. A lawful character would not shoplift. And I've always been a bit more of the pragmatic kind of Nethack player, where I haven't gone in for that big roleplay kind of things. Like, I have never been the kind of person, or, like, I just never ended up doing kind of any actual, like, real life roleplay games. So I don't have that mindset. But some players do. Some players, like, find that to be a big thing. And I do think that's an interesting aspect of the game. So let's eat that corpse. I wonder if I can untrap. I am screenshotting that because I had no idea that I could actually help friendly monsters. The dwarf talks about mining. That seems like the kind of thing that a dwarf would talk about. So I'm not really finding very much else of interest in this. So let's go down a level. I was really hoping to have found some extra gems by this point. And this is almost our wrapping up time for the evening. I would love to hear from the chat if anyone has any, like, that people are talking about my dwarf murder justification and the dwarf negligent homicide justification. I don't know, I think it kind of goes a little bit beyond negligent homicide if I'm just going to stand there and go, yeah, this vicious killer kitten that I've got, I'm just going to stand idly by while it attacks this innocent, peaceful dwarf. That seems a little bit beyond negligent homicide to me. But again, if you, depending on how you go in for this, like with the roleplay, like if you play Nethack, or how would you do that? Would you play your character as a character? Or would you say, well, the game lets me, so I'll do it? Anyway, I am feeling bold, and we did take down a few things that we thought we weren't going to be able to. We fought our way through the throne rooms and the treasure rooms in Sokoban. We took out the bigger monsters in the throne room. We do still have that swarm of bees, and please, when I'm streaming this again next Wednesday or next Thursday, don't let me forget about the swarm of bees. But I kind of feel like our character, our wizard, can take down a baby blue dragon. So that does at least answer one question of what this thing is. Because our dragon just changed into a centaur, which is also pretty scary. And now a mastodon, which is terrifying. But it will probably change again next turn. Yeah, let's run away. Mastodons, very scary. And that is probably a great time. I mean, they say always end on a cliffhanger, right? This seems like a great cliffhanger to end on. 7 HP, a mastodon downstairs. Let me see what the dictionary has to say, the encyclopedia has to say about the mastodon. Any large elephant-like mammal of the genera mammoth, mastodon, etc. From the Oligocene and Pleistocene epochs, having conical projections on the molar teeth. Which sounds rather less terrifying than it actually was. So this is where we shall wrap up for the evening. As ever, you can follow Soda Culture on Twitch and you'll get notifications for when we go live. I will be streaming again next Thursday. Next Thursday will be the next stream from me. I know that Casey is trying to get another guest host for Tuesday, so if that is something that you would be interested in doing, you should shoot Casey a message. And otherwise, keep an eye on the Nethack Knights Twitter account, which is nethack_knights, or see Coldrop's page as well. There should be links to that from Soda Culture on Twitch. There is also our blog, which you can check at nethacknights.tumblr.com, which has episode wrap-ups of previous episodes. There are YouTube videos, and if you go a few posts back, there is even a guide to Casey's Nethack setup, which I'm basically using as well for me. So if you like how our game looks, you can find all the config details in the blog there. So I am going to save this game just for now. Before we go, let's just have a quick look at some of the other games in progress, because you might remember I was saying before about how, although it is March the 31st in the Eastern time zone, it is April the 1st in other time zones, and I thought that might have an effect on our game, and it didn't, because I think our game started before this. But when I was waiting to do the stream, I had a quick look at some of these other games. This is a game from a person called Beholder, who hopefully is actually going to do something. Like on the nethack.alt.org server, you can watch other people's games. So this person is much further down the game, doing some inventory management, and you might notice that there are many objects here. I've never seen this in NetHack before. I'm only guessing that this is a April the 1st kind of thing. But it certainly seems like if you are playing on nethack.alt.org, then the messages are going by very quick on here, but they have been disemboweled. They have lost the letter E in the message stream. I was hoping maybe we'd get to see a longer one. There are money objects har. An uncursed Atham. So that's something fun. Maybe if you think NetHack isn't confusing enough for you, then you could go and check that out for April the 1st. So that is everything for this evening. As I say, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. You can follow me on Twitter. I am a creature, and I will tweet whenever I am going to be streaming some NetHack. But until next time, until next Thursday at 10 PM Eastern Time, keep hacking those nets, and be seeing you.